What is up, my ducks and drakes? Welcome to the Crawdad Lake, and today I'll be reading Chapter 16 to the end of I Could See Too, a Senior Sites fanfic by ariww19 on Wattpad. Now, if you haven't been reading this at all this whole time, just know there are trigger warnings for sensitive and mature content. And yeah, so if you'd like to check out the book for yourself, the link will be in the description below, along with the link to recommend your own Wattpad Read Aloud book to be put on here. It could be something you written yourself or something another author written that you wanted to see be read by me. There's also a link to participate in the Gift of Fanfiction, which is a event that I'm now making annual for every December. Please make sure you look at it now, though, because it's all due by the last day of November. So with that, on with the story. Chapter 16. Ethan's Point of View. Ethan? Club asks softly as he comes back into the room. How much of that did you hear? I ask him. Just the end. Sorry. He tells me. I shake my head and tell him he's fine. Is she really kicking you out? He asks. Seems like it. I tell him. I'm sorry. I let you stay here, but I'm not sure my parents would be too hot on the idea, he says, hugging me. I'll figure it out, I say, hugging him back. How, though? We stay in that embrace for a few minutes. That is until we hear Club's mom call him from downstairs. Guess they're home, Club says, sounding a little annoyed. What's with that tone? Had something in your mind that your parents shouldn't be home for? I tease while leaning down to kiss his neck. When I pull back, I see him roll his eyes with an amused smile. Calm your dirty mind, he jokingly scolds. Who says I was thinking something dirty? I ask with a smirk. His eyes widen and he playfully punches my arm. I laugh and gesture to its door where I can sense his dad's soul approaching. As I do, his dad appears in the doorway. Hello, Ethan. You boys doing your homework? His dad asks. Yes, sir. We just started, I tell him. Please, Ethan, it's Owen, and you're welcome to call my wife Darcy. Would you like to stay for dinner? He asks with a warm smile. I'd like that. Thank you, Owen, I say in response. He nods and leaves downstairs. Maybe I can ask, Club starts, but then I cut him off by kissing him. Don't. I've already got a place to stay, anyway. I tell him. Where? He asks. My car's pretty comfy, I explain to him. You're not sleeping in your car, he tells me. But he cuts me off. No buts. Maybe ask Virgil, he suggests. I can't bring him into this, I try to reason. If you don't and he finds out you had to sleep in your car, he'll kick your butt, he tells me, and I nod because I know he's right. Okay. I'll call him. Okay. Call him. I'm going to get some water, and then we need to finish up on our homework, so we can have time to just hang out before dinner, he says, already leaving the room. When he's gone, I pop into the bed and grab my phone. After a minute of hesitation, I call up Virgil. Hey, what's up? Hey, Virg, You what? I might need a place to stay, just for a day or two. My mom wants me out of the house, and I don't think my dad will be able to do anything about it. It's really cool if I can't stay with you. I mean, I've got my car. Say no more. You're welcome to stay as long as you want. You know my mom won't mind. Also, if you ever sleep in your car when you could have asked me for help, I'll kick your ass. I had a feeling you'd say that. Thanks a bunch, man. See you tonight. Bye. Bye. I hang up the phone. Before putting it down, I send a quick text to my dad. I tell him that I talked to Mom and was going to spend the night at my friend's house. With that, I set my phone back on the bed. Club comes back in a few minutes later with 2 water bottles. Did you ask him? He asks and sits next to me. Yeah, I'm going to stay with him, I respond. He nods while handing me a water bottle. We go back to doing our homework. A couple hours pass and we've called down for dinner. During dinner, I happily chat with his parents about various topics. School, whether I plan on working, and what my plans for the future are. So, are you planning on going to college, Ethan? Owen asks me. I am. I'm going into engineering. Once I get my degree, I'm likely going to work at the same company as my older brother. I tell him. Very nice. That's a very good choice. Owen compliments. Have you decided what you wanted to be once you graduate, Collab? Darcy asks her son. I have, he says after swallowing his food. I'm going to be a nurse. Virgil and I are planning on going to the same college. I look up for my food because I didn't know that. Funny, Roman and I are going to the same college as well. We already found one that we can both go to, but still do what we want. As I'm about to take a bite, I sense an unfamiliar soul approaching the front door. Someone's at the door, I say without thinking. Oh, I'll get it, Club says, sitting up. His parents seem confused, but then the doorbell rings. Wow, how'd you know that? Darcy asks with confused curiosity. Lucky guess, I tell her. She accepts my answers and we go back to eating. A moment later, Club comes back and sits down. It was a package for you, Dad. I put it on the couch, Club says. Thank you, son, Owen says back to him. Dinner ends and I head upstairs to gather my things. I'll see you tomorrow, baby. I took Club and I walk downstairs to find him waiting by the door. He smiles and pulls me down for a kiss. I leave his house and head home first. When I get there, no one is home, so I go inside and pack up just the necessities and some clothes. I put it all in the trunk of my car and get ready to drive off. As I'm about to pull out of the driveway, my dad pulls up in his car. Where are you going with your stuff? He asks. I'm staying with a friend, remember? I tell him. He gets a look of realization on his face and asks what my mom said to me. This is my choice, and my friend already said it was cool. It's just until Mom calms down or kicks us out or Virgil kicks me out, I say softly. He pulls out his wallet and gives me some money. Give me a week. I'll have her out or us out, he tells me. I just nod and climb into my car. I pull off the driveway to Virgil's house. I leave my stuff in the car and just grab my phone charger. When I get out of the car, I see Virgil walk out of his house to greet me. You okay? He asks. I'm fine, I say. Then I tell him what my dad said. A week, a month, or a year. Stay as long as you need to. It'll be nice to have someone here anyway, he assures me. Thanks, Virg, I say as he nods. We head inside and sit on the couch. He grabs the 2 controllers and hands me one. We play Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Zombies for a couple hours. Finally, we head back to his room and get ready for bed. It doesn't take long for me to fall asleep. 2 days have passed, and I just talked to my dad. He's looking for a new place and filing for a divorce. He says he can't be with a woman who would abandon her own son. It hurts to know I'm the reason their 20-year-long marriage is ending, but I can't do anything about it. I love Club. I'm not going to leave him because my mom can't accept me. I'm currently at Club's. I'm lying on his bed as he's curled up next to me as we watch TV. After a few minutes, Club pauses the TV and climbs into my lap. Now he's straddling me. Are you okay? He asks. I'm fine, baby. I just wish things could be different. That my mom would accept me, but at least I have my dad. And you. I say, cupping his face with my left hand. He smiles and leans into my hand. I pull him closer as he kisses me softly. Are my parents home? He asks when I pull away. I use Soul Search to check, then I shake my head. He grins and bites his lip. Good, he says and kisses me again, but not as softly. His hand cups my face. As I'm kissing him, he leans right back into my legs. Oh my god. Pure thoughts, Ethan. He sits up and down again. You're doing this on purpose, I say, barely audible. He smiles into the kiss and moves his hands down my chest. Maybe, he says and kisses me again. Start to imagine him doing that with no clothes on and immediately clench my fists tightly to stop my train of thought. Ethan? He says as he pulls away just a little bit. Our lips are only a centimeter apart. I ask, unable to speak. I'm in a mood, he whines. I respond by kissing him. Later on, we clean ourselves up with a towel before going back to cuddling. While cuddling, instead of watching TV again, we talk about stupid stuff. With him here in my arms, I only really have one train of thought. This is perfect, and I want this forever. I want him forever. I'm gonna marry you someday, I say. Caleb tenses up against me. Baby? I question him. I could see he's nervous. Are you sure? He asks, barely audible. Don't say what you don't mean, he adds softly. No, I didn't mean to say that out loud, but I meant every word. I used my hand to make him look at me. I meant every word, I tell him. After a second, he smiles and relaxes before he puts his head on my chest. Then I'll be waiting for the day, he says as he hugs me. I smile and kiss his head. We lay there for a few minutes when Caleb's phone starts ringing. Hey, Virgil, Caleb says when he picks it up. I don't hear Virgil's side of the conversation. Yeah, I'm with Ethan. The park? Yeah, we could go. Okay. See you in a few minutes, he says and then hangs up. He wants to meet up at the park? He asks. I ask and he nods. Yeah, do you not want to go? He asks me. I'm cool with it, let's go, I tell him. He smiles and we both stand up to head out. Chapter 17, Ethan's Point of View. I've been living with Virgil for over 2 weeks now. It's been great, but it's time for me to move back home. My mom finally decided she wanted a fresh start and let the house to me and my dad. It'll be so lonely without you here, Virgil says as we chill in the living room. We got back from school a couple hours ago. Oh, I'm still coming over, like, all the time, I tell him. He chuckles as we start to play some Call of Duty. I nod and grab one of the controllers. He sets up the game when we start playing. About an hour passes by when my dad calls me. We have a short conversation. What's up? Virgil asks when I hang up. My brother came home. Apparently, he heard what happened with Mom. He wanted to see if me and Dad were okay. I tell him. I think I'm gonna head home, I add. I'll see you later. He tells me and I nod. I leave his house and my stuff and head home. As soon as I get home, I see my brother's car in the driveway. I can already see Adam's mellow soul. I can help but burst in excitement in seeing him. It's been quite a few months since he visited last. I get out of my car and head to the front door. I haven't been home in over 2 weeks, but it feels like no time has passed as I unlock the door. Hey, little brother. Adam greets me as he wraps an arm around my shoulder. Hey, I say, smiling. We walk over to the couch and we sit down. So, he starts. When do I get to meet this boyfriend of yours? I chuckle. Depends on how long you're staying for, I ask him. A few days. That's all I could get off of work, he tells me. Well, tomorrow's Saturday, so I could bring him around tomorrow if you'd like. I say and he nods. I like that. Also, I'd like to meet this Virgil kid. You said he has Soul Search too? Can't believe we're calling it that. But I want to meet him. Actually, I'd like to meet any of your new friends that you can't stop talking about, he says. It's because I found friends who aren't assholes and accept me for who I am, I tell him. I see. Well, I'm happy for you, little brother. Why don't you just invite your friend group over? I'll buy pizza for dinner, hey? He tells me. I'll text the group chat and see who could come, I say, pulling on my phone. I text the group chat and then wait for the replies. After 10 minutes of me talking to my brother, my phone goes off with a bunch of dings. I check my phone to see that Logan, Roman, Pat, and Virgil, Darren, and Kleber are all coming tomorrow. Sweet, everyone's coming, I say to my brother. Good. Want to watch something? He asks just as my phone starts ringing. I glance to see it's Caleb. Yeah, give me a minute, I tell him. He nods and turns on the TV. I walk into the kitchen and answer the phone. Hey, baby. Hey. What's wrong? I'm watching a show and this scene made me cry. You scared me for a minute there. Anyways, I was just about to watch something with Adam. Okay. I just wanted to call you and tell you that I love you. I wanted to hear it in my voice. I love you too. I'll see you tomorrow. Watch something happier. Okay. Bye. Bye, baby. I hang up and shake my head with a smile. He is too adorable. Coming? The brother calls out. Coming, I call back. I go back into the living room. It's probably with a stupid smile on my face because my brother asks, "Was that your boyfriend?" I nod my head and sit on the couch. "What did he say to have you looking like you just won the lottery?" he asks with a smile. "He just told me that he loved me." I tell him. "Did you say it back?" he asks. "Of course, what kind of question is that? I love him very much." I tell him. "Well, good. He's your first love, right?" he asks. "My one and only. I'll love him forever," I say, and I mean every word. He must have seen that because he looks a bit surprised, but happy. "My little brother. Oh, lovesick. How sweet," he says, almost laughing. I shrug and chuckle as well. We watch TV for a few hours before I head out to my car to bring my stuff back up to my room. It's not much, just 2 backpacks, one with clothes and one with other necessities. When I get to my room, I put my stuff away and the clothes into my hamper. When that's done, I decide to shower. I shower quickly and then get dressed. Then I start to play a game on my computer. A few minutes passed when there was a knock on my door. "Yeah?" I call out. "Dinner here, Ethan," Adam tells me. "All right," I say, pausing my game. I leave my room and head downstairs. When I get to the kitchen, I see a bunch of Chinese food. My mouth begins to water with each sniff I get. "Let's eat, boys," my dad says. After dinner, I head back upstairs to play a bit more on my game. Then I head to bed. The next morning, I wake up at 9:30 and get dressed. Blue jeans and a black long sleeve. I roll up my sleeves halfway to text Caleb to see if he wants to come over early. I start to walk downstairs. When I get halfway down, I hear my dad talking to my brother. "It's only half an hour away, and I move in right away. This won't have to lose the house. Ethan would be crushed if you ended up having to move far away, at least until Ethan goes to college," my brother says. "I don't know, son. I know Ethan is happy right now, but what about your life? What about that girl you were head over heels for?" my dad asks. I slow down and stop at the middle of the stairs. "What life? And that girl? She wasn't who I thought she was," Adam says. "Are you sure you want to my dad starts saying, but it stops. "Ethan, I know you're right there," Adam says. Shit. I walk down the rest of the stairs. "Sorry for eavesdropping," I apologize when I get into the kitchen. "It's okay. We were just talking about me moving back home to help Dad with the house. At least until you leave for college. Otherwise, you guys have to move, and who knows to where," Adam explains. "I'd love to have you here, and I really don't want to have to move. I'm even looking for a part-time job," I tell them. They both shake their heads and say that I don't need to worry about the living situation. "We'll figure it out," my dad tells me. I nod and start to leave the kitchen. My phone dings, and it's Club. He said he's ready to go, so I head outside to my car and start it up. I drive to Club's house and call him. He picks up and tells me he's coming outside. While waiting, I text the group chat and tell the guys to come over whenever they like. A minute later, Club comes out. We drive back to the house. We pull up to my house, and I see Club is really nervous. We get out of the car and head inside. "You've already met my dad. Not to mention my mom and my brother are cooler than neither of them," I say when we step inside. I grab his hands and pull him into a short kiss. "Nice to know I'm still considered cool in my little brother's eyes," Adam says from the bottom of the stairs. Club and I pull apart. "Hi, I'm Adam. You must be Club," he says and holds out his hand. Club shakes his hand and smiles at him. "Nice to meet you," Club says sweetly. My brother smiles and leads Club into the living room. "The others will be here later," I tell Adam. We all sit in the living room, and Club talks to my brother. An hour passes, and Adam is slightly interrogating Club. "Hello, Club," my dad says, walking down the stairs. "I'm heading out, boys. I'll be back for dinner," he adds. "Bye, Dad," my brother and I say. "Well, I'm heading out to meet up with an old friend, but I'll be back in a few hours with pizza. I'll talk to you a little bit later, Club." Adam finally says. Adam leaves, so Club and I head up to my room. I like your brother, Club says as he sits on the bed. I get pained with jealousy. It must show on my face because he quickly adds, not like that, I just mean he seems like a cool guy. I nod and chuckle nervously. I didn't mean to show him anything that resembled jealousy. Sorry, it's just, it wouldn't be the first time someone liked my brother instead of me. He's only a few years older than me after all, I explain to him as I sit next to him. Don't worry, I only have eyes for you, he says, standing up, only to sit straddling on my lap. I smile at him and he smiles back. I reach up and caress his cheek. I love you so much, I tell him. Because I don't like your brother? He asks, a little confused. No, just because I do, I tell him. Well, I love you too. Now, we're alone? He asks. We are, I say after I use Soul Search to check. He smiles and kisses me. He pushes me back to where I'm laying in the bed. He pulls back and lays on my head on my shoulder. I had a dream about you last night, he mumbles shyly. I can see his soul slightly embarrassed. What about? I ask him. He doesn't answer, but instead hides his face in my shoulder. It clicks in my head. Was it? What kind of dream? I ask. He lifts his head to look at me and his cheeks are beet red. His soul is really embarrassed now. It was, dream, he says, mumbling. I bite the inside of my cheek to prevent myself from smiling. I don't know what you mean. Maybe you should tell me about it, I say while rubbing my hand on his back. He briefly looks me in the eyes, and then looks away, even more embarrassed. You don't have to, I assure him. He bites his lip and leans down to where his lips are right by my ear. He whispers all about what he dreamt about to me. When he does, he kisses my cheek. Then he leaves kisses across my jawline and down my neck. He finally pulls away and sits up embarrassed and pretty nervous. I'd be lying if I said his dream didn't sound hot. I see. How I'd love to do those things to you, I say, sitting up to kiss his neck. He breathes out my name, and when I get to a sweet spot, I'm about to go further, but the doorbell rings. I groan with annoyance as Caleb climbs off of me. Asshole, I say it to the door. Who is it? Caleb asks. I go into the bathroom and splash cold water on my face. It's Roman and Virgil, and I bet he knows exactly what he was interrupting, too. I tell him when I realize both of our souls are dark pink. Caleb shakes his head with an amused smile. I dry my face and then head downstairs. When I open the door, I'm met with snickering Virgil and amused Roman. You seem annoyed. Were we interrupting something? Virgil asks with a smirk and laughing a little. You know damn well what you were interrupting, I mutter. Virgil fully laughs as I let him inside. Sorry, he really didn't realize until we were at the door, Roman tells me. Fair enough, but you don't have to laugh, you asshole, I say, hitting Virgil's shoulder lightly. He sighs happily, and we start to walk upstairs. Chapter 18. Before I begin, I'd like to make a warning that there are mentions of forced sexual actions. It does not happen, but there are mentions of it, so you have been warned. Please log off if any of this makes you uncomfortable, for I do want to make you guys feel guilty or anything for listening to something you don't want to listen to, so yeah. Chapter 18. I walk up the stairs to where Caleb's soul's coming from. This is the universe paying you back for interrupting me and Roman before, I jokingly say to Ethan as the three of us walk into what I assume is Ethan's bedroom. I've never actually been to his house before, so I look around. It's nice, a full-size bed with the opposite wall as soon as you walk in. He has a dresser with a TV on the right, next to his closet. On the left wall is a computer setup and the door that I think leads to a bathroom. Hey, Virgil, Roman, Caleb says sweetly. Don't go acting all innocent now, I say, sitting next to Caleb. Caleb goes red, and I just laugh. I nudge his shoulder with my own. Shut up! Club mumbles, but is smiling. I stop teasing him and stand up. I walk over to Roman and hug him because I just want to hold him. Ethan sits up next to Club and wraps an arm around his waist. "Oh yeah? I got a call this morning," I say. "From the neighborhood grocery?" Ethan asks. I nod, and he asks what they said. "They said I can start this weekend. I'll be working weekends and most days after school," I explain. Roman, Ethan, and Club already know I had an interview last week. Club is already working at a clothing boutique, and Roman works at his dad's store on the weekends. The only one who doesn't have a part-time job yet out of the four of us is Ethan. "I'm gonna apply for the neighborhood grocery as well, since they're still hiring," Ethan says, pulling out his phone. He does something on it and then sets it back on the bed. We hang out for an hour and a half before Logan, Pat, and Darren show up. They all sit in the living room to watch TV. "Iron Man?" I ask him. We look through Ethan's DVD collection. "Thor," Darren suggests. "How about we watch The Avengers? It has both Thor and Iron Man in it," Club says, pulling it out. "Fair enough," Darren and I say at the same time. We watch the movie, and when it's done, we look for another movie. "Guys, let's watch this. It has a dog in it," Patton says, holding up I Am Legend with Will Smith. Ethan and I share a look, but Logan is the one who says, "Let's not." Patton pouts and said he really wants to watch it. "This is awkward," Darren mumbles. I spot the movie Hotel for Dogs and show it to Patton. "Oh, yes!" Patton says happily and puts down the other movie. "I'm going to get something to drink. Anybody else want some?" Ethan says, standing up. "I do," Club says, and follows Ethan into the kitchen. Just as the movie starts, I sense an unfamiliar soul approaching the front door. "My brother's back," Ethan calls out. I focus on the soul and sense a small aura behind his regular one. Yep, he's a soul searcher. Ethan's brother Adam opens the door with 2 large pizzas. He seems surprised to find a whole bunch of teenage boys in his living room. "Oh, hello everyone, I'm Adam. Y'all must be Ethan's friends. That or we need new locks," he jokes. We all smile and laugh, and we each introduce ourselves. Ethan and Club come back, each holding a soda. Adam walks into the kitchen and then comes back with the pizzas and napkins. He sets the pizzas down on the coffee table and tells us all to eat. Not long after Adam says this, everyone has a pizza. As I'm eating, I sense another soul approaching, also unfamiliar. "Is that your dad?" I ask Ethan. Ethan looks at me and nods. "So, you do have soul search. I also heard you puke up that black stuff. Any idea what it is?" Adam asks. Ethan's dad comes in, greets all of us, and then grabs some pizza before heading to his room. I explain all about soul cleanse, and even show him how to use it to calm someone down. He thanks me. "You guys seem great. I'm really glad you guys are friends with Ethan," Adam says after an hour of us talking. "Well, he may be an idiot at times, but it wouldn't change him for the world." I joke, and Ethan rolls his eyes with a chuckle. Adam laughs and agrees with me. Another hour passes, and we all get ready to leave. "I'll see you guys later," I say, standing up. I'm the first to leave. Everyone says they'll see me later. "Bye, baby," Roman says and kisses me goodbye. I make my walk to my house. It only takes me about 10 minutes. When I get home, I notice my mom's car. "Hi, honey," my mom says as I walk in. "Hey, how was work?" I ask her. "It was good," she says, and starts telling me about the certain patient she had. As I'm listening to her talk, my phone starts ringing. It's an unknown number. I think to myself that it's weird, but I answer anyway. Hello?" Hello? Virgil? It's Brianna. I'm not surprised my sister is calling me. About a week after my birthday, she started calling or texting me regularly. Our relationship has gotten much better. I'm surprised she's calling me from an unknown number, though. "Bri, what's wrong? Whose phone are you calling from?" This nice lady, let me borrow her phone." What? Why? What happened?" "Is that with Brianna? What's going on?" my mom asks with worry. I nod, but put my finger to tell her to hold on. I couldn't remember Mom or Dad's number. He tried taking off my clothes, but I started screaming, The nice lady and her husband heard me and came to the car. He panicked and drove off after pushing me out of the car. Call Dad. Brianna's in trouble. I tell Mom, and she nods, pulling out her phone. My mom is calling Dad right now. Where are you? I don't know. I'm scared, Virgil. Don't be scared. Are the nice lady or her husband calling the police? Let me talk to them. Hello? My name's Jonathan. My wife and I were walking by when we heard this young lady screaming. I got down the plate and have called the police. They're on their way. I'm on the phone with your father. He's out on a date with Selena. He wants to know where she is. My mom says, Thank you for saving my little sister, Jonathan. Where are you guys? My dad will be there as soon as possible. He tells me their location and I tell my mom. She tells my dad and hangs up with him. Can I speak to my sister again? Of course, the police have just arrived. Virgil? I'm here, Bree. Did he touch you anywhere? My chest, but I started screaming when he tried to do anything else. He hit me, but I didn't stop screaming. That's good. Dad's on his way with your mom. My mom and Dad are gonna be mad at me. I look at my mom with a look that tells her I need to be there. She nods and grabs her keys. We grab our go bags and head out. I'm glad I convinced my mom that we needed go bags in case of an emergency. We climb into the car and I stay on the phone with my little sister until Jonathan and his wife leave, even after she calls me from Dad's phone. Are you on your way? I am. I'll be there as soon as I can. 11 hours later, I'm in front of my dad's house with my mom. Their house is bigger than ours. I need to head back, but give Brianna my love, my mom says, dropping me off. I'm going to stay for a few days, so can you call me off of school? I ask and she nods. Stay safe, she tells me before she drives off. I go up to the door and pull up my house keys that Dad gave me last time I saw him. I just spoke with Dad. Brianna, Selena, and him are on their way home from the hospital. I'm sitting in the living room for only a few minutes when the front door opens. The first person I see is my dad, who gives me a sad smile. Then is Brianna. When she sees me, she tears up and runs into my arms. I hug her as Selena walks in. Thank God you're safe, I tell her. I was so scared, she tells me. Did they get the bastard? I ask my dad. Not yet, but he was a senior at the local high school. I didn't even know she liked boys. If I had, I'd never let her even think about sneaking out to meet up with someone, especially one who is already 18, my dad says angrily. You better pray I never meet him, I say, just as pissed. I'm sorry, everyone. He seems so nice. Never even considered that he would try something like that, Brianna says sadly as she pulls away from the hug. Just never do anything like that again, I tell her. She nods and hugs me again. An hour passes by. Brianna showed me her room. She showed me pictures of her and her friends. Then she showed me her writings. She liked writing poems. I read through some of them and complimented her. Thanks, she says, now happy. She seemed depressed when she first came home, but now she's excitedly showing me the different stuff she's into. Let's watch my favorite show, Brianna says. I nod and follow her into the living room. Selena and my dad left a few minutes ago to get some food for dinner. The doorbell rings and Brianna gets up to answer it. What are you doing here? I hear my sister ask with fear. I immediately get up and walk to the door. I find some guy around my age holding onto my sister's arm. The man reaches up and slaps my sister. You little slut. You better tell the police it wasn't me. They're at my house, my job. You better fix this or else, the guy says. His soul is really chaotic and disturbing to see. Let her go, I say as I charge up and grab a hold of the guy holding her. Is this him? I ask Brianna and she nods. Call the police, I tell her, and she runs into the kitchen to do just that. You dare come here and threaten her after what you almost did? I spit angrily. Who the hell are you? The slut's other boyfriend? He asks. I'm her brother, and the last person you want to fuck with, I tell him darkly. Fuck you and your little slut sister, he tries saying, but I punch him in the face. She's 13, you sicko. Ever come near my sister again, and I'll make you wish you were dead. I'll end your pathetic existence. That's not just a threat. That's a promise. I tell him with all the hatred I can muster. Then I punch him again and again, and on the third punch, he falls to the floor, his nose partially broken. A couple minutes later, a cop car pulls up. I explain to him that he came here to threaten my sister and how he attacked her. What happened to him? The officer asks. He fell. I spit out darkly. Bullshit, the guy yells. He did this to me, the guy yells again. And you tried to rape a 13-year-old girl, I say, pissed off. The officer looks at me, and then the guy on the floor. So he fell, the officer says, and arrests the guy. I turn to look at my little sister who is holding her face. It's all gonna be okay now, I tell her as I hug her. Chapter 19. I stay with my dad for 3 more days before I realize I have to go to school. My dad and Brianna drive me back to California. Come visit me again soon, my sister says. I ruffle her hair and tell her I will. She shrugs off my hand and I fix her hair. Love you guys, I say, and they say they love me too before driving off and heading home. It's Tuesday afternoon when I get home. I use Soul Search, but I don't see my mom's soul. She must still be at work. I go inside my house and put my go bag back in my room. I sit in my room and scroll through Tumblr on my laptop. An hour later, I start thinking about what happened to my sister, or what almost happened, and it pisses me off. I take a deep breath, but it doesn't help. Then my phone rings, so I pull it out and answer without even looking at who it is. Hello? Hey, baby, are you home? I am. Why? Just wondering. Are you okay? Not in too great of a mood. I'm still thinking about the asshole who dared touch my sister. I need something to take my mind off of it. Wanna come over? I could do that. I'm at Low Creek. I'll be there in a few. Actually, I'll come to you. That okay? Of course. See you soon. I hang up and leave my house. I walk slowly to Low Creek. When I get there, I head straight to my Roman's spot. I find him laying down as he observed something in the water. Hey, what you looking at? I say, rubbing his back. He stands up and points down at a leaf. I'm kind of zoned out watching it float, he explains when I look confused. Oh, I say. How's your sister? He asks. I tell him everything in better detail than I did while texting him. Wow, I'm glad she's okay and that nothing too terrible happened, he says, and I nod. We walk to the center of the clearing and sit down. He sits with his legs spread apart so I could sit in between them and put my back on his chest. How are you? He asks, reaching for my hand. Still pissed, if being honest, I tell him. He grabs my hand and rubs his fingers over the back of my hand. I should have done more than break that creep's nose, I add. If you'd done any more, then you'd be the one in trouble, he points out. True. It doesn't make me any less angry about what happened, though, I tell him. That's understandable, he says. You don't think I'm crazy? I ask. Not at all. If I had a sister and someone did that to her, I'd be just as angry, rightfully so, he answers. I take a deep breath and let out a heavy sigh. Let's talk about something else, okay? I tell him. Okay, like what? He asks. I don't care, I mutter. Where do you want to live? He asks me. If I could live anywhere, I ask in return, and he hums in response. By the water, I tell him. We continue to talk about random things for about an hour and a half. Then we both decide to head home. We stand up and face each other. I'm not feeling as pissed anymore. Thank you for helping me take off my mind from what happened. I thank him. Of course, anything for you, he says, holding both of my hands. Anything? I ask with a smile. Anything, he says, smiling as well. I pull my hands from him and wrap my arms around his waist, hugging him. Then, can I have a kiss? I ask, pulling my head back. He grins and leans into the kiss softly. I hum happily before deepening our kiss. His hands cut my face. When we pull apart, we both have a content smile on our faces. I lay my head on his chest. I love you, Roman. I say softly. He rolls my back and kisses the top of my head. I love you too, Virgil. He says softly too. We pull apart from our embrace and head back to the park. From there, we head our separate ways. When I get home, my mom's car is there. I walk inside to find her in the living room. Oh, hi, honey. When'd you get back? How's Brianna? She asks when I sit next to her. A couple hours ago, and she's better. I tell her. Good, I'm glad, she says. She already knows all about what happened because she's my mom and I tell her everything. So, where were you? She asks me. With Roman, I tell her. Where at? She asks. My eyes narrow. Low Creek? Why are you asking? I tell her. I'm your mother. Is there a reason I can't ask? She retorts. No, it's just you've never asked questions like this before. I stay leaning back into the couch. Exactly how far has your relationship with Roman gone? She asks, out of seemingly nowhere. I tense up and refuse to look at her. Okay, I've told my mother everything but that. Why? I ask unsurely. I just want to make sure that if you are doing anything, you have done it anything. You're being safe, she explains. I know I'm not stupid, I tell her, but don't answer her original question. I know, honey, she says and pats my knee in a motherly way. Well, I'll be in my room, I tell her. Okay, she says, and I stand up. I go to my room and grab my laptop. I watch YouTube until it gets dark. Then I decide to take a quick shower. When I get out of the shower, I head to bed. The next morning, I wake up at 6 a.m. I get dressed in dark gray skinny jeans, a black t-shirt, and a black high-top Converse. Then I go into the kitchen. My mom is already making breakfast. I watch her and try to remember it for next time. She gives me my food and I eat. I glance at my phone. It's 6:45. After putting my dish in the sink, I leave for school. I am the first of my friend group to arrive. I play my phone until I sense Caleb's soul approaching with Ethan. Good morning, Virgil, Caleb says. Morning, I tell him. We continue to wait for a few of our friends. Soon, Roman arrives. As soon as I see him, I go up to him and wrap my arms around his waist. I lean in and kiss him softly. He smiles into the kiss. Good morning and to you, too, he says as we part. How'd you sleep? I ask. Good. You? He asks in return. I tell him I slept fine, and he smiles at me lovingly. Okay, lovebirds, we're in public, Darren says. When did he get here? Like you and Brittany are any better, I tell him. True, he says, smiling to himself. Speaking of my girlfriend, he adds as Brittany walks over. Hi, sweetie, she says to Darren. What are we, chopped liver? I ask as a joke. She smiles at me and says hello. We talk for a couple minutes before the bell rings. See you guys at lunch, I say, and walk with Roman and Caleb to our first periods. We reach our rooms. Caleb goes into a class while Roman and I walk into ours. Good morning, Virgil. Roman, Mr. Barnes says as we walk in. Morning, Roman and I say at the same time. Then Mr. Barnes continues to greet other students who enter. School goes by quickly, and before I know it, it's time to go home. Come over, Roman asks as we walk out of the school. Okay, I respond. You guys want to come over? Roman asks our other friends. They say no. Darren has to head home. Logan and Patton are heading to Logan's, while Club and Ethan are heading to Club's. All right, see you guys tomorrow then, Roman says, grabbing my hand as we start walking to his house. While walking, we talk about our plans for after high school since we're graduating in a few months. The conversation continues even after we reach the house. I'm looking forward to going to college. I think it's going to be fun, Roman says as we start to walk up the stairs to his room. Yeah, I say, but my mind starts thinking too much. What if Roman and I end up at college I said are 100 miles apart? I mean, I'm sure we can manage a long-distance relationship thing, but unless he doesn't want to, what if he only wants me now? What if when he goes off to college he decides he wants to break up? I shake my head and realize Roman is talking to me. Virgil? He asks me from the top of the stairs. I'm standing halfway up the stairs. Hey, he says quickly, walking back down to me. He cups my face and uses his thumbs to wipe away a few stray tears I didn't realize had fallen. What's wrong? He asks. I swallow the big lump that's left in my throat as I tell him about my fears. Oh, baby, you don't have to worry about that. I'm not letting go of you ever, he assures me with a small smile. I bite my lip and look down, still unsure. I really love you, Roman. And I know that, at least for now, you really love me. But I think one point my parents really loved each other, too. We were younger than they were when they met, I say softly. I don't want to be a crybaby, and I know nothing good comes from worrying about this, but I can't help it now that it's on my mind. We're not your parents. We may be only 17, but I know what we feel in our hearts. There will never be anyone else like you. You're my soulmate. I'm sure of that. I promise. And I know I would love you forever, Virgil. In this life, and for the rest of time. You are my everything. I die for you, and I live for you. One day, we'll look back on this, and any worries we've had will be a distant memory, he says as he moves his hand to grasp mine. You're right. Sorry for... I start to say, but he kisses me softly. No apologize is necessary. Everyone worries about their futures, even us, he tells me. You worry? I ask. Not about us, but about my future in general? Yes, he responds. I nod and give him a small smile, but soon turns into me laughing lightly. What? He asks. I just love you, and how you say the most romantic things. In this life and for the rest of time, you are my everything. I die for you and I live for you. I'm never gonna forget those words. You'll stay at my heart and in my head forever. I tell him with a happy smile. He chuckles and his soul turns embarrassed. I love you, I say, and I lean to kiss him. He kisses me back happily. I think we'll be okay, no matter what comes. Chapter 20. I'm so excited, Patton says as he bounces up and down. As am I. We finally graduated high school, Logan says as he puts his hand in Patton's. We're currently standing in the cafeteria that's decorated for our graduation. The last several months seem to have went by in a flash, with nothing of note really happening. I'm currently standing with my group of friends and my little sister Brianna. My mom, dad, and Selena are in their seats talking to my friends' parents. I can't wait to graduate, Brianna says with a pout. You've still got ways to go, Bri. You will one day, though, I tell her as I put my hand on her shoulder. She looks at me and smiles. My relationship with my sister has gotten even better. She texts me almost as frequently as every day, and asks about my day and tells me about hers. Roman is standing next to me, and he wraps an arm around me. So, are you still going to be a nurse? Caleb asks. Yeah, that's our plan, remember? I think it's going to be the best match with my ability. That, and I really want to help people, I tell him. By the way, I didn't get a chance to ask yet, I start saying as I turn to Roman. How did your audition go yesterday? He bites his lip to suppress a smile. It was great. They said they'd definitely be giving me a call, he says. Oh, that's wonderful, I say with a smile. He nods and turns back to our friends. I take a moment to stare at the side of his face. Then I glance at my friends, who are all laughing. My gaze lands on each one of them for a moment. Every one of us is going off to college soon. I really hope we stay friends. That we'll come over to each other's houses as we get older and meet each other's spouses, even if those of us who are dating don't stay together. I hope we all stay friends. Even if I don't worry too much about Ethan and Caleb because they're going to the same college as Roman and I. Baby, why are you crying? Roman asks with worry. What? I reach up and feel my cheeks. Oh, sorry, I was just thinking, I say as I wipe away my face quickly. What were you thinking about? Patton asks. So I tell him and the others. Oh, we're gonna be friends forever. You're all gonna be the uncles to my children, Brittany says, hugging me sideways. Our children, Darren mumbles, but Brittany hears him and goes beet red. If only Brittany could see what I see, because I totally see that they're meant for each other. I smirk at him, and he grabs Brittany's hand. I agree with Brittany. Logan and I are going to adopt, Patton says happily. Once we're a bit older and financially stable, that is, Logan reminds him. Oh, yeah, of course, Patton says. When's the wedding? I ask as we walk over to Logan. I plan to propose when I finish getting my teaching degree, Logan tells me when I look at Patton, who is explaining how their lives together will go. 4 years, huh? Aren't you worried? I ask him. Worried? He asks and looks at me. That you may not be together? I say carefully, as to not to offend him. No, not really. Patton's my soulmate. This I know in my heart. I will never leave him, he tells me, sounding absolutely sure. I can see he means every word. If only he knew how true that statement was. Are you? Worried, that is, he asks me. I glance at Roman. Maybe a little, but I think that's just me thinking about all the what-ifs. I tell him. He nods in understanding. I, too, at one point, thought I wasn't good enough. I believed Patton was too good for me, or anyone for that matter. You just have to remind yourself that he loves you, just for who you are, he says. Thanks, Logan, I tell him as I put my arm around his shoulder. He hums and gives a small smile. All right, everyone, Club says happily as he wraps his arms around Ethan's waist. Who's ready to get some food? My parents have invited all you guys and your parents over for a barbecue. We all agree happily. We make our way to the parking lot. You guys riding with me and Club? Ethan asks me and Roman. The two of us nod and make our way to Ethan's car. Honey, my mom calls out after me. I stop and turn together. She dogs over to me and asks where I'm going. I tell her, but she tells me I should take my own car. My own car? I ask her, confused. Then I hear someone honk their horn. I was going to ignore, but my mom turns towards me with a big smile. When I turn, my mouth falls open. Oh my God, you didn't! I say, my mouth still agape. We did. Your father and I have been saving up for this a while, and we finally got it, she says, almost squealing. Holy shnikes, I say as I stare at the car. It's a black 2018 Kia Stinger GT1. Come look, son, my dad calls out as he climbs into the car. Holy shit, I say again as I get closer. This is seriously mine? I ask, looking at my dad. He nods with excitement. I remember mentioning once that I wanted this car. I'm definitely getting the part-time job now. Get in. Check out the interior, my dad says. I climb in and close the door. Roman, Club, and Ethan walk over. Ethan whistles at my car and leans into the driver's side window. Wow, you are so frickin' lucky, he says. Then he adds that I have to let him drive at least once. I nod, and I am really focusing on all the black interior. Totally my style. My parents know me well. My dad climbs into the passenger side and explains everything to me. How the car is already under my name, and how to put me on his old insurance until I could pay for my own. This is amazing, I say, and I lean over to hug my dad. When I get out of the car, I hug my mom. Thank you, guys. This is by far the best graduation gift. When my parents told me that they were definitely getting me a graduation gift, I agreed, but I never thought it'd be this. Well, meet you at Club's, my mom says as Dad climbs out. I nod and look at Roman. Hey, cutie. Wanna ride? I ask him. He laughs and nods. He climbs into the passenger side, and I start to drive off once we're both buckled up. See you in a few minutes, I tell Ethan and Club. They nod and walk over to Ethan's car. I pull out of the school parking lot and head to Club's house. I'm the first one there. I park the car on the street with the passenger side near the sidewalk. Roman and I climb out of the car. He leans against the car and I walk up to him. You liking your car? He asks me, and I wrap my arms around his shoulders. I'm pretty sure I'll end up liking the back seat even more, I say, and he chuckles. He leans in and kisses me softly. We're still making out when Ethan pulls up a minute later. "Enjoying yourselves?" Ethan asks with amusement. Roman and I pull apart for a minute. "Very much so," I say and kiss Roman again. "Come on, lovebirds," Cleb says as he walks to the front door. We follow him inside and out to the backyard where everything is set up. "Hi, Gloria," I say to Cleb's housekeeper. She's a very nice old Hispanic woman. She's worked with Cleb's family since before he was even born. She's very kind and tends to talk a lot, but nobody ever minds because she has a really good sense of humor. Her soul is usually flowing, but not in a bad way. She just doesn't hold on to her emotions like most other people, so it's easy to tell how she's feeling even without soul search. "Hello, Virgil," she says with a smile and turns to Caleb. "Everything's set up. I've also already done all the chores. I'll be heading out now," she says. "Thank you for setting everything up," Caleb tells her. She nods happily and goes into the house. Caleb walks over to the barbecue grill and lights it. Then he asks me to go inside and bring out the meat he cooked. "It should be all on the counter," he adds. "Sure thing," I say and walk inside. As soon as I walk inside, I am in the kitchen. On the counter, I see a stack of hamburger patties on a plate. Next to it's another plate of hot dogs. I pick them both up and carry them outside. "Great, I'll get started on these," he says as he starts on the hamburgers. Everyone else begins to arrive. Darren, Brittany, Logan, Patton, and their parents. My parents, Lena and Brianna, also show up. By the time everyone is in the backyard, it's full of people. Good thing the backyard is pretty big, or we'd all be squeezing together. We all talk and hang out until it starts to get dark. As the sun is setting, people start leaving. Eventually, I'm the only one left with Caleb. Roman left with his parents. Caleb asked me to stay the night, and I agreed. "So," Caleb says as we clean up the backyard. The stars are slowly starting to show as the sun disappears. "So?" I ask while picking up some trash. "I was thinking that instead of staying at the dorms, we could rent a place together," he says very quickly that I barely understand him. It takes me a second to process what he said. Sure," I say with a smile. "Really?" he asks. I laugh and say, "Of course. Since we're all going to the same college, I figured we could run a place together. Roman and Ethan want to live with us too." I still find it insane that our college dream of going to the same school is the dream Ethan and Roman had together. Not to mention how we all just happen to choose the same school. I know, right? I get to be my boyfriend and my best friend, he says, running over and hugging me. "Don't forget about my hot boyfriend," I say, chuckling. He smiles smugly and says that Ethan is hotter. "Not to me. Besides, I'm clearly and fairly certain Roman is bigger," I say with a smirk. "Virgil!" he exclaims, laughing. "Ethan's pretty big himself," he says as he picks up a plate on the floor. It falls open at that, but a smirk takes its place. "Guess my little club isn't so innocent anymore," I tell him. "You have no idea," he mutters. I stop what I'm doing to look at him better. "Did you too?" I ask. He bites his lip and looks away from me. "Did you feel ready?" I ask him with all seriousness. "Yeah, I did. It was a perfect first time," he tells me. I could see his soul is embarrassed, but happy. We continue to talk while cleaning up. When we're done, we head inside his room. We watch movies until we eventually fall asleep. The end. I would like to thank you all so much for watching. If you would like to support my channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the creator of this book, which you definitely should, links to their wattpad and the book are in the description below. There's also a link to recommending a book for me to read and the link to see what The Gift of Fanfiction is all about. Please do that. We need as many fics as we can get. Then on top of that, there's also links to my social medias like Twitter, Instagram, Wattpad, TikTok, all of my things down there. There's also the channel Discord, so you could talk with other ducks and drakes, and my Etsy, where you could buy beaded things from me because beads. And I wear them a lot, so maybe you want to be matching with me, I don't know. So, once again, I cannot thank you so much for listening. This book was really fun to read. I love Ethan's dynamic. I think Ethan was my favorite character, but also because he was one of the only characters that didn't hurt my voice to actually voice, because I mostly just used my normal voice, so it wasn't too hard. With that, I would just like to say, even if you just got your brand new car and your best friend tries to drive it before you do your best.